How's it going? Name's OP. Young Imp is now in the game, which means it's time to talk about a should you summon. Young Emperor himself is a character that is a little bit of, I don't want to say everything, but he kind of has that vibe to him. He has a super art that's able to give him 50 arc gauge to the whole team, plus everybody gets light damage up, and every time he uses it, he gets an additional 50% damage up as well, but it's only for the first 90 seconds of a quest. The true art is giving you super crit plus lowering damage res. The art is a pseudo heal, also lowering enemies evasion, and the skill is 100 arc gauge up every time you use it, at least for the first 90 seconds of a quest. In terms of the passives, he has 30 arc gauge up to the entire team, and then he also has 100% crit when he's above 80% HP, and finally magic res. The big thing about this Emperor is that he is a bit time gated to an extent. He does kind of run out of steam once he gets past that 90-second mark. Not entirely though, he just loses a bit of power. And not to mention as well, this guy really wants to be on a mono light team if you couldn't tell by his entire kit. So in team building, if we're just considering him, I would still probably put him alongside two other archers and have him more as a flex unit in any other team that's not mono light. However, in mono light itself, I think it gets a lot more interesting. I know some people may hate that he's on a time limit, but for mono light, that doesn't even matter. This is what this team is used for. They're constantly on a time limit with the 120 seconds of Kenshin, so why not just throw on Emperor himself? He fills the element and race that Kenshin needs to buff up his passive. Not to mention too, everybody on that team is physical, apart from maybe Farron or Railgun, because she's also a very good candidate for that final slot there. And then this team completely plays into Young Emperor's strengths. You have attack up, you have physical damage up, DR, you have a unit on the team that's able to absolutely nuke anything in front of them. Not to mention this entire team hits hard themselves. And let's not forget, Young Emperor slots are very solid for his team. Providing another defense slot with that 5-star physical means that you're able to get even more DR than you were previously with Mono Light. Or if you take this guy up to LB7, it's another support slot for your entire team. However, this could be the peak of Young Emperor's power. Considering that you need Kenshin, I would say even Saitama because he's the main DR unit, Railgun, Farron, some other type of really good light unit, BF Emperor himself could be a great unit here. You need all of these pieces to really see this guy shine, so if you are lacking in any of that, his value does go down a bit. However, you can't deny all the pros he has, especially for Mono Light. So if you weren't completely sold on this before, hopefully you are now, that Young Imp isn't the only thing that should really win you over in this banner, unless you're a Mono Light junkie. If we take a look at the banner, there's so many good characters, including BF Emperor himself. Now, even though BF Emperor is a bit older, he's still a fantastic unit even to nowadays standards. He's able to give equip CT to 3 different equip types based on the position he's in. Not to mention he buffs up his damage against human, gods, or demons based on his position. He has a true art that's able to give 10 arc gauge to the entire team for 8 seconds. This is a type B archgener, but on top of this as well, you also get a massive amount of damage res down if the enemy is a human, god, or demon, which majority of enemies are. And then you have your super art, which for the most part no one really ever uses because it doesn't really do too much. It looks really cool. It's probably the best animation in the entire game. However, it doesn't really work with his entire kit, unfortunately. And the reason why it doesn't work is because of the true art. I don't have to tell you how bad 8 seconds of Archgen truly is, because this is what we expect on like a 4-star equip. And in most cases, the way how you actually want to play this Emperor is by using his art and then using his true art and just kind of rotating on those as much as possible. Oh, and take a look at the skill. 20 arc gauge on a skill because he gets flinch res? Like, whoop-de-doo. You know how many characters gets flinch res as a passive and still has like 50 arts or something like that on the skill, or even gives himself more arts than that? He's not a taunt tank. He's not somebody who should be taking a hit. I say get rid of the paralysis and freeze res and give him more arc gauge so he can actually be a bit more functional. One thing that is really good about BF Emperor is that since his entire game plan revolves around his art and true art, as a new player, if you wind up getting them and you can't ascend them for like a week or whatever because you have to put them in the AFK mode, you can still use this Emperor in the meantime because you still have access to his art gauge, his art, pretty much his whole game plan's there, just of course in a weakened state. If you look at the next units on this banner, really the only bad one is Noel. We have Heart, which Heart is still one of the greatest characters that this game has ever released, with tons of healing, art gauge, the whole 9 yards. Just know that if you get Heart, you probably don't want to use BF Emperor anymore, or you still can, but Heart's art gauge will not stack with BF Emperors. And then of course we have Miranda, and if you guys have Miranda, or maybe you don't, maybe you've seen gameplay on her, she is one of the best taunt tanks in this game. Give her Truth of Eternity, fight at any type of magic boss, and there you go, Miranda Miranda isn't dying, she'll take all the damage for you. So all in all, this banner has so much value. From Young Emperor to BF Emperor to Heart to Miranda, it is a new player's dream. And even a vet player, you're still getting a lot here. It's just kind of weird that the showcase unit, the banner unit themselves, doesn't really feel like the main winner here, right? Like if you're brand new, you're going to want to prioritize characters like BF Emperor or Heart or Miranda over the Young Emperor. But let me not beat around the bush anymore. I've been going into the deets, but it's time to actually say, is it worth or not? And in my personal humble opinion, I absolutely believe this is a worthwhile banner. Now, do you pity this character? Depends on how much of a mono lighthead you actually are. But for the most part, this entire banner has great value for new and old players. If you do plan on going extremely deep though, I would say be a bit careful and make sure you use your resources wisely. But the reason why I'm saying be a bit careful is because next month is going to be Christmas, and Christmas in GS is always crazy. We usually get wild GS units releasing, not to mention all-star banners and all that type of stuff. Plus, let's not forget, more than likely we're getting Kill a Kill for Christmas this year, considering we haven't had Hoka and all them. Also, if you really want to be prepared for everything coming, you know, January is around the time we have our anniversary. So that's probably going to be where we see either Orville D Grand Verge or someone else by that point. Well, depends if we catch up in the story. If we catch up in the story by that point, then we'll see Orville D. If not, then we're going to get some random bozo. Summon in moderation. Make sure that you are saving for the future as well and not throwing all your crystals into one thing. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Tell me down below, are you going to be summoning? Are you going to be skipping? What's the deal with this banner? If you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend check out this video popping on the screen right now. It's talking about the 7 layers of gacha games. If you don't know what that is, I recommend you click on it. I think it's probably my best work yet. I'll meet you over there. And one more thing before you leave, don't forget to drink water.